Okay, so I've got Sharif here, right? Sharif, hi, awkward wave. So I shared a flat with Sharif for how long? 2 years?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much 2 years, and we went to musical theatre college together for 3 years, and man, we bonded. First thing I want to ask you about, okay. So Sharif was the agony aunt through my whole accepting I was a lesbian, which obviously took a lot longer than maybe it should. What do we think?
No, but it was a bumpy road.
It was a bumpy road. What do you think I struggled the most with?
I think the biggest thing was the resistance to the idea that everything up to that point you presumed being a lesbian would mean that wasn't who you were.
Yeah.
And so it was difficult to think maybe if that is who I am, doesn't mean I have to be those things, because that's not who I feel like I am. Yeah.
Sharif was the first reason that I went on a date with a girl. Do you know this?
No.
Yeah. I've been talking to a girl for a month, right? And obviously I was heartbroken because it's not just that you're talking to a girl, it's like, oh, I'm going to find out who I am and it's all going to make sense, and then they get rid of you and you're like, no, I don't know who I am anymore.
Lost.
I'm lost! Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're in the street, we need to
Yeah,
talk
it's
to that.
fine. We're not lost. We're not lost.
And I got a random message through from a girl saying she had tickets for a Red Nose Day event at the Palladium, and I had work in the pub at that point, and I was like, Sharif, what should I do? And you were like, Chantal, just call in work and just go. You have to go. It was like, you actually have to go. You've been wanting for this for such a long time.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Remember it?
Yeah, I do.
So it's thanks to this guy that I'm dating women.
What I remember most about the early journey
Yeah.
is how every time you'd be coming closer to coming to terms with it, then you'd be like, there's something would happen with a guy, and that would make you think that you weren't anymore, and
Yeah.
you'd convince yourself again, because it's the resistance to the fact that it is who you are.
Yeah. The minute it got too believable, it was like, oh no, I need to just double check and then get with the guy. Me and Sharif have been through sort of, I will say, falling in love with a straight person, or both experienced really strong connections with people who see themselves as straight, and that has confused that person sometimes, and then confused us, because we think, is it our fault that we've made them think that way, or is this always been in them? Is this part of them? Are they going to grow through us and realise maybe they could be gay? Like, what's going on?
When you're somebody who is gay or of a sexuality that isn't straight, you know, or what's perceived as a societal norm, you're forced to go through that discovery of the idea that maybe you connect to people differently than the way. So you have to dig into that in a way that maybe people who are naturally straight maybe don't have to. Yeah, because you have to pick it apart. You pick it apart and trying to work out why I am that, how I've ended up being that. What does that actually mean about my future relationships? And I just think it opens your eyes to the fact that there's such a spectrum of relationships. It's not black and white, and it's not definable always. It's ultimately it's connection, it's connecting with people.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time society has put us in a box that means we maybe don't fully allow ourselves to explore what those connections can mean, because there's so much pressure with what the end point of that is. Like, where does that take, what's the end of that?
Does that mean I'm gay then?
Yeah, so what does that mean about my sexuality? What does that mean about my future? So if you wanted kids, if you want a family, any of that, so you limit yourself because it's just those ideas. They box you and they box other people.
And then that's scary then.
Yeah.
You feel scared to explore that connection when actually it's just a really exciting thing. I've met this person that makes me feel these amazing things I've never felt before, has opened my eyes to things, I want to get to know them more, I want to be close with them, but I can't because that person is the same sex, so what does that say about me? It's hard for us as people who have gone on this journey and sort of done all that self-analysing to understand why a person who sees themselves as straight would be able to stop themselves from exploring that, because I think we've had to explore it to figure out who we are. We couldn't leave anything unturned. And that's sort of me in life anyway. I need to know everything about myself, at least. Like, that's just what I have to do. So the fact that somebody could run away from that connection and because they're scared, or they're scared what that says about them, is so like mind-blowing to me. But then everybody's different. Like, they don't have to do that.
We have to be careful because we've been forced to question all of those things about ourselves. We're so much, it's naturally as a result of that, we're more open to exploration in any form, because you're open to the fact that everything you thought you knew about yourself can change.
Yes.
And I think people who haven't been necessarily forced into that situation, which they're very lucky if they haven't, don't wish it upon anyone.
Yeah.
But I say that actually, no.
I think it's an amazing
it's
quality.
a beautiful thing, and because you have to, you grow enormously in ways that if you embrace that in a way that you continue to question, you will continue to grow.
And the world becomes a playground then, because you think, I don't know anything.
Yeah. You can encounter people that you may present the gateway for their exploration, and a byproduct of that will often be that you will be left behind, that you're not going with them there. You will have helped them explore themselves, and you open yourself to a lot of potential hurt in that sense, because it's natural. That's how we all did it. It's how we all will have done it, is that you, in a certain time or place, have a moment that forces you to question yourself and to explore something that's foreign to you. And
you use that person, not meaning to find out about yourself. You are a stepping stone to them figuring out who they are, which should be just something that you think, well, isn't that amazing that they thought I was that great, that it sparked this in them. Yeah,
conversion. This is conversion. All you straight, beware. There is a thing now. I think it's quite cool to explore that. People are doing it because it's part of sort of that kind of culture, and it's a great thing because it's a stepping stone to that. Hopefully,
being the norm.
Being the norm in a way that it's not even talked about, that people are necessarily fluid or exploring, because it is. We're able to recognise each other on a level of seeing who that person is and seeing like what do I want from that person, what do they want from me, and
isn't that dreamy?
Yeah.
That is like the stuff of dreams. Yeah. That's heaven.
And you don't have to behave a certain way. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to act a certain way. It is what it is. It's simple.
Yeah.
That's
the dream, and for that not to be an identity crisis.
Yeah.
For that to be, I've been brought up to see another human being and think I want to be with them.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Because I've always said I just don't feel like that about guys, but if I did feel like that about a guy, I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't say, oh, but I'm a lesbian now, like that's not me. Like if I felt that strongly about someone, I would absolutely do that. Yeah. And I don't care if it's confusing to anybody else, my family, my friends, like that's the way I am. I go on my soul and how I feel. And I think if we all did that, we'd probably be happier, I think.
There's so much that kind of forces us to stay in certain kinds of relationships or chase certain kinds of relationships. It limits us from our full potential as people and our full potential in relationships with people, I think.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's the blessing of us, or anyone who's had to go through thinking about their sexuality. You question all of that because you have to.
Yeah.
Conventionally, you maybe aren't going to be married. Conventionally, you aren't going to have kids the same way. It's always going to require a real want and a purposeful act towards it, as opposed to your life just happening by accident.
Yeah.
You have to choose it, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? And it actually excites me that I get to live my life in my way, not the way that everyone else before you has lived, because that's the way it is. Like, I get to do my own path. How great is that? I don't want to be the same as anybody else on this planet. I want to live my life in my way, like nobody else, like only Chantel could do. And I will. And that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
The house with the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids, that scares the shit out of me. Like, no. I love that though. I love that we've just got into that much. That's me and Sharif though. Welcome to me and Sharif. Now,
the tangents, they keep on coming.
What did I say before? I said if me and Sharif were stuck in a lift for like 7 hours, someone would come to get us out and we'd be like, can we just have 1 more minute? We just need 1 more minute. We're just going to talk about 1 more thing.
Bring the tea. Thank you.
3, 2, 1. Hip, 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 hooray. And on that note, bye-bye. See you later. Bye, Sharif.